Okay, class, I'm just going to review the layer mask, and I've placed a path just around the balloon, not the string, and it might be that I want to do just something with the balloon. And I want to go over this. I've created the path. Don't forget, if you have a work path, I really recommend saving those by just double clicking on that path right there and saving this. And I'm going to call this yellow balloon and click OK. And then also what I'm going to do is turn this path into a selection right here. Okay, so now it's selected. And when you have a selected area, it looks like I've got part of the balloon part here. That's okay. I'm going to go into Refine Edge. And Refine Edge is fairly new, and so if you've been in Photoshop a while, this is why I want you to switch gears and start using Refine Edge, because Refine Edge gives you the layer mask. And I got to tell you, when I learned about the layer mask, I mean, I just really don't operate any other way than using it, except for some really rare circumstances, like drop shadows. But I'm going to output here, the one you're going to want to use. I'm going to first refine the edge, but this is what I'm talking about. You create a brand new layer in your layer panel with the layer mask. Now, layer masks, all they're doing is they're allowing you to hide or reveal this part of the image. And right now, this part of the image, only the yellow balloon is showing. But, and that's what you want. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. Okay, we don't need to use edge detection. Remember that what that was for is fuzzy, detailed areas like fur, waterfalls, clouds, things like that. Well, you'd get in there and use your edge detector. But you might come in and you might smooth this out a little. I'm just sort of checking it out. A little bit of feathering, not too much. Really, what they say in a lot of the books is to, if you're going for realistic compositing, only use between 0.3 and 1.5 at the most. And then contrasting will sort of harden the edge. Shifting the edge will bring your selection in. Even though you can't see it here, it's still there. And if I take it to the left, I'm trying to get rid of this halo right there. I might kind of bring that down. Something like that. Okay, now this is when we come into output too, and you can see you have a lot of choices. Again, selection is one, layer mask. Now you could choose layer mask, but it's going to do it to the layer that you already have. And I think, just to be on the safe side, I usually just say, hey, give me a new layer with a layer mask, because then I can keep layer one if I want to, or throw it out later. This is just a little safety measure. Create a new layer with layer mask and click OK. This is the layer mask. And briefly, I just want to show you that if you click on that mask, so you can click on the photo, you can click on the mask. If you click on the mask, then you're in the mask realm, and black right here represents the area that's hidden. And you can see we can't see the clouds or the sky anymore because that mask has hidden it. And white represents the part of that layer that's revealed, and that, of course, is the yellow balloon. So what's really cool is if you frame the mask and then come in with your paintbrush, you're now painting on the mask. You are not, painting on the actual pixel layers. So this paintbrush, if you're painting with black, is going to hide your pixels. So I could come in if I wanted to, and just to show you that, I could hide. I know I'm looking at my opacity and it's down a little bit. Let me back up. Take this up all the way. I always check that out. I mean, I obviously don't always, because I just did that. But check your opacity, because, I can now hide this part of the layer. And then if I want to reverse these and paint with white, then I can bring it back. Just be careful around the edge. See, I'm sort of bringing back some of the blue. And you can use a harder brush. It's probably pretty wise to use a really hard defined brush when you're editing like this. But there we go. Hiding and revealing. Now the other thing too about this mask, it's just so great if you're, let's say you have a really complicated selection of a person and you realize, oh my gosh, I lopped off the ear. The mask, because in a year from now, I can edit this. In 2 years, I can still edit this. But if you use your eraser, which is, like let me get on this layer. If I have my eraser and I erase, like that is gone. And if I save that, it is really just gone forever. So I highly recommend that, let's undo that you use the mask in the future. Now, I'm going to show you something really groovy. This is going to blow your mind because we're going to take layer masks to another level. And what I'm going to do is create a new file. And just for giggles and grins, let's get a photo preset, like a 5x7. And I'll just call this layer mask fun. And I'm going to create 2 layers that have color on them, and I'm going to put a mask on the top one and show you the power of what you can do. So let's say I was really liking the blue, so I'm going to fill this background with just fill it with a blue tone, and this is what you would do. You get on the layer or the background that you want to fill, go to the edit menu and fill with whatever color. We want color, so choose color. That pops up your color picker, and yeah, why not? Let's just do a happy blue. Sounds good. Click OK, and that fills that with this really nice, pretty electric blue. And then what I'm going to do is you can create solid color fill layers right here under these are called your adjustment layers. Sort of this like circle with the yin-yang kind of slash through it. And I love these because actually a layer like this, all it is it's just one color. It's just a layer that has one color. And I'm going to get kind of a really light, sort of icy blue tone here. And so we've got a really bright blue, and then we have this sort of icy blue. And I'm going to click OK. And if I wanted to change that, I can do that at any point by clicking on this. Now, solid color fill layers come automatically with a mask, which is really super cool. So you can click on those, and then this is going to hide or reveal whatever part of that light blue mask that you want to hide or reveal. Well, guess what? If you use your gradient, this is your gradient tool right in here with the paint bucket, and you gradiate between black and white, it's going to fade out at a nice gradiated level. It's going to hide and reveal the layer. So I'm going to click and drag, some kind of a distance here, right about that, and let go, and you'll see that nothing happens. Let me check this. Why did nothing happen? Oh, because up here my gradient is not correct. So I was looking down here, but as I've said before, and I'm not following my own rules, double check, always look in your options bar. So let me just go ahead and come into this and grab the black and white gradient. There we go. Do that again. It'll hide part of this. Yeah. Now I'm on I'm going to undo that. That's a funky looking gradient. You can have those radial gradients, but I'm going to go with a basic linear. So you could have a linear gradient, you could have a radial gradient, all of these, the diamond gradient. But what I'm really trying to do is just get a basic gradient to show you. Now look at your mask. Black represents the part of that icy blue that got hidden, and it's hidden and we can see the background blue underneath it. And white represents where it's fully there at 100%. Now somewhere here in the grays is where it's semi-transparent. And that is really interesting because now what you can do is play around with all kinds of fun tools like your filters. And we haven't looked a ton at filters. I usually like to do that in Photoshop too because sometimes students really rely on filters to be like the answer to solve all their problems with Photoshop, and it really isn't the case. It's, I think, more glitz and glitter, bells and whistles than it is anything else. But when you're working with a layer mask, they can be, pretty darn nice. Now, I'm going to go in there in a minute, but I want you to see what's happening to my black and white mask first. So here's where these masks live beyond your layer panel. They exist in the, the channels panel right here. So let me pull this out and show you. This right here is the mask that I am working on, and I'm going to turn that mask on and also just turn the eyeballs of the RGB, the color eyeballs off, just so that you can see this simple black and white mask right here. Looks kind of boring. But remember that on this icy blue layer, what this is representing is the hidden icy blue part of the layer. And as we move into the grays and white, the layer is revealed. Now watch this. This is why I really love masks, is you can come into your filter menu and play around with a lot of different techniques. Like one that I love is Pixelate Halftone. And what halftone does is it gives you a bunch of little dots, just like the halftone dots when you print. If you look up close at, you know, a printed material like a magazine, you'll see all of these really cool halftone dots. Well, watch this. When we choose color halftone, and I'm going to have to guess as to what number to choose, and I'm going to go with 6. We'll see if we like it. I like it. It's just a little small, so hang on. Let's try it again. Whoops. Let me come in here and go back to Pixelate Color Halftone. And I'm going to actually go the larger number. Let's try 18. There we go. Check that out. So whenever you have a gradient and you do this kind of technique on a mask, it will indeed give you a pretty cool looking effect. Now we'll look at what this is like when we go back to RGB. And you can do that by simply clicking, I think, on this. Yeah, you click on your layer, your color fill layer, and boom, that is also a really beautiful way to work with layer masks. Like if you're doing a business card or something and you want to sort of have some fun with what is revealed and what's hidden on a layer, I highly recommend the layer mask. Let's do one more just for fun. I'm going to undo that. We still have the gradient. Now I'm going to keep it in this realm, but I really do like you to see it in black and white so that you get it. Well, let me do that. Let me show it to you in black and white because I think it really shows you what's being hidden and revealed. And just remember, on this icy blue layer, black is hidden and white is revealing the blue. Let's get back on this mask, and you can see I'm coming in on the channels just to show it to you in this way, but you don't have to do that. I just like you to kind of get a visual. Now watch this one. What I'm going to do is twirl this gradient, and I'm going to create sort of like a water droplet just using the mask. So coming into your filters, to think here a second, I'm going to go to distort and zigzag. Whoops, not yet. I haven't done this for a while, so forgive me as I'm sort of finding it. Distort and twirl. That's what we want to do. We're going to do twirl and then we're going to zigzag. So go to twirl, and twirl is like a blender. It just blends. It just allows you to twirl this gradient. Whoa, there it is. And then we go right back in, remembering that black is hiding the icy blue layer, and we're going to be able to see the electric blue below. Filter, distort, and zigzag. And then push the ridges up all the way to the extreme. We want the pond ripples, even the amount, take that up also all the way. Now, here is what makes the mask so incredibly beautiful, is that you can get these kinds of effects with grayscale. In fact, if you think about drawing like with a graphite pencil, your values, what gives you push and pull, are grays, you know, blacks and grays and whites. And that's indeed what's happening. If you draw just a simple sphere and you shade in one side, it starts to look three-dimensional, and that's why the mask is so incredible, because you're starting to achieve this 3D effect. Super beautiful, and I'm going to click OK. Well, that's great, but now let's take a look at it in color. So you just go back onto this layer and click on it, and look at that gorgeous kind of ripple effect. Simply done with two colors, a dark blue, a light blue, and working that mask in filters. So I just wanted to run that by you. Certainly you can play this back and, you know, again, to sort of get a handle on how this works, but really the mask can give you really tremendous effects. Well, thanks a lot, and tomorrow I'm going to also talk about drop shadows for you, and I think I'd like to use someone's example, so I'm going to check in with them and see if that's okay. All right, take care.